Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Guyz. Glad you're here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a safe week since last week. In case you missed our big announcement from last week, we announced that we were going to be on WDJY, which is 99.1 on your FM dial in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, that's great, but also got some more news. I managed to get on Radio Fairfax. And if you're not familiar with Radio Fairfax, it's located just outside of Washington, D.C. So that'll give us quite a much larger audience and a little bit more diversity. So you can tune to Radio Fairfax when we're on there, and I'll keep you updated on Tune In. And then I also got us on Radio Fairfax Channel 37, which is available in Falls Church, Fairfax County, Arlington, Loudoun, Leesburg, Stafford, and Fredericksburg, and Reston. You can find it on Comcast, Verizon, or Cox. I'll also announce those times. Now, that is audio only. It's not video. We're not TV stars yet. Stay tuned. I'm going to be contacting another radio station tonight and see if we can go into that market. So we are growing much larger and much quicker than we anticipated, but we are so glad that we are, and we couldn't do it without our fan support. Thank you all once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world, you're listening to the Sportcat Show.
That's right. It's the Sportcat Show. Well, I'm not alone tonight, although... Bring in Miss Dina. Oh, well, no, you won't desert me. Everybody else may desert me, but Dina will be there. Our first guest tonight, Professor Schradner, he called me last night, I guess late, and said that he developed COVID and he is quite sick. So we wish him well. We want to see his magical feats, but we only want to do it when he's well. So get well soon, and we'll reschedule him. I tried to get a special guest star in here, but, well, doesn't look like I did. So maybe he'll hop in.
Just kidding.
The chat is open. The radio phone line is open. Let's pop that up there for you. I'm sure by now you're tired of hearing me say it, but you can call us live. 1-888-88-YERGZ. That's 1-888-888-88-YERGZ. Stuff eights. And talk to us live. Now, remember, if you're listening to us on Radio Fairfax or WDJY, you can only call us live when we're on our Paranormal Guyz with a Z on the YouTube. So you can check us out there every Wednesday night live at 9 p.m. We have 2 guests lined up each night, and we have a really great show. And tonight, my guest is Dina. No, since our guest is out sick, I told Dina earlier if we couldn't get our second guest in, which I really hoped we would try and get call in from the audience and get in some input and feedback. Since we're growing, I know people have questions and might have answers.
Call us and ask us what we're about.
Yeah, I'm about 5'11", 400 pounds.
You're not 400 pounds.
I swear to God, this camera adds weight.
I know it does. I was looking at my shoulders and I'm like,
I never believed that. Saying, "Oh, we're going to put you on TV," and I'm like, "Look at that fat dude with the mustache." So, yeah. Now I'm not all paranoid about it. Good Lord. So. There's nothing I can do about it, I guess. Then Raw Sugar wants to know, call in or use the link. Ross, it's your network. You can. Do you want a link? I can give you a link, Ross. Hold on. I'll give Ross a link. I like Ross.
Lickety.
Gotta find the right button to push over here. Too many buttons.
So many buttons.
I think it's still.
I'd sing to you, but you might run away.
All right, Ross, you now have the link. So, no need for Ross to call in. He owns the station. So. I offered to sell him my entire fortune, my domain, my people. I'd even sell my computer. $1 million. All I want. Just
You
$1
like
million.
no.
I'm not Howard Stern yet, so. Heck, if I was Howard Stern, 1 million would be cheap.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to aim higher later.
Yep.
Yeah, we're getting there one day at a time. I look at my subscriber count on YouTube and think, gosh, I have so many views, but not so many people subscribe. So the reminder, please, thumbs up, hit that notification button, and you can always
come back and see us
on the show with a live chat.
See you sometime.
And you know what? I'm feeling mischievous tonight. If anybody in the chat wants to come on the live show until my second guest gets here, I'll let you on. As long as you don't break the 7 deadly sins. Of course, I think I already did break one of them.
Oh no.
Well, I don't think I'm going to make this our first DC show.
Why?
Well,
yeah, it's kind of just me and you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't be bad for an intro, but I got to figure out their editing. They want different blocks than the other show. If I read the correctly, so, you know what that means? More editing! Yay! So
Yay.
I don't have enough to do.
Always fun.
But well, you know what? Nobody ever said that doing this was going to be easy.
That's true.
So, if you want to build your business and grow, you got to work hard for it. So, nothing wrong with that. I don't want to go out and be one of these guys who buys 1,000 viewers on YouTube because that's just crap.
That's cheating.
You buy 1,000 views and you barely get 100 views on your video. Explain to me how that's possible. Yeah, you don't have 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to call BS.
How that happens?
Oh, well, I know how it happens because I get the spam emails every day. Hi, I promote you a show.
Oh yeah. You
get 1,000 viewers. Yeah.
You have 1,000 subscribers. You're buying subscribers, but you don't get the views. Oh no.
Well, you can't make people watch.
Well, no.
I suspect that a lot of that is probably fake accounts. Like we were talking about it earlier today on the news show. You can create an account and be anybody you want.
Well, you're right. That's true.
Look at me. I'm the Sportcat.
If I could get all the guys that are subscribed to me on Twitter to come over here and subscribe, we'd have a bunch.
Hey, here you go. You might be time to do a little bikini shot.
No,
do a little OnlyFans for Dina.
I put on there that like I'm old and decrepit. And like, come on.
That's not a good pickup line, Dina.
I'm not trying to get picked up. That's the thing. I'm like, I don't want all these.
Do you get
crazy?
Do you get eggplant photos?
No.
I had a friend on Facebook saying that she was just tired of it. That's all she ever got.
No.
I don't get that. I just don't get that.
Most of those people, most of the guys, I'll look at their, okay, here's how you tell. I'll look at the guys. They're usually either trying to act like they're in the military, or they're widowed, or they're single parent fathers. They'll have a picture of them and their kids, and they will have it'll be a new account, or they will have all women friends. Those
not opposed to having all women friends.
No, they're like women hunters. Women gatherers on Facebook.
What does that get?
Huh?
What does that get you if you have a bunch of women as your? I don't understand.
I don't know. It's just that it just shows that they're out looking for women to date or whatever. And I don't want that shit, you know? Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh no!
I'm sorry. I don't want that jazz. I don't need all that jazz. I don't want somebody that's just looking for anybody. You know?
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, I mean, I will take any unsolicited breasticle photos they want to send, but yeah, I'm not.
But no, I mean, of course, if I've talked to somebody, like if in the chat or whatever, if they send me, you know how the messenger will say, "Do you want to talk to this person?" or whatever. If you don't know them, it'll say, "Do you want to talk?" It'll say you're Facebook friends, but you've never chatted with them or whatever. Do you want to talk to them? And if it's somebody I know or that I want to talk to, I'll go ahead and talk to them. But if they start getting weird, I'll block them. Just off.
Yeah, I think I've only got 2 people blocked, some 3.
No, I've got a lot.
I'm not. I just removed.
No, I'm just kidding. I have some blocked though. There was this one guy who was one of my cousin's ex-husband's friend, relative. I don't know. Anyway,
sounds like a family stick story.
Not ex-husband, but baby's. I don't know if they were married. Anyway, baby's father. But
already confused.
I don't know. Anyway, he was a preacher, and he slid into my DMs and started talking weird, and I was like, what? I was like, I thought we were going to be friends, just friends, period. And he was like,
gotcha. Well, and you know, it's funny. That's the exact way that the females will be. They'll be like, hey, and I'll be like, hey, and they'll be like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, you're too stupid to read my profile. Bye.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a stranger.
That's how it is on Twitter. Where are you from?
How's everybody?
What do you do?
I'm good.
I'm good. This real quick conversation.
Oh, I heard. That's why I wanted to get on, because I know I can offer so much to this conversation.
Oh my gosh!
Well, see, I figured this will be the unedited ones. This one ain't gonna go anywhere. So, yeah, this is how they slide into your DMs, as Dina says, and like I said, I'll welcome it. Snapchat. Holy cow! If you want to see breasticles, that's the place to go, man. Just go there and have a public profile.
Well, isn't that what Snapchat was designed for? Was because of the fact that you're not. The photos aren't kept for a long period of time.
Yeah, it tells you if you save them or whatever. I've had chicks say, "Why'd you save that?" Because I like to look at your breasticles. Why'd you send them?
Yeah.
Not rocket science. Jeez.
Yeah.
I told a guy last week that my face is in my nudes because I'm not ashamed of my body naked.
Yeah.
I want you to know that's me.
I'm clear on that.
There you
go. I'll never eat a pepperoni pizza again that I don't think about your Ross.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask if that was you that saw that picture.
No, it was all of us. We've all seen that.
Yeah, you sent it to the group.
We were going to put it on a mug, but.
Oh, you got to. Yes.
Oh, do you want us to do that?
Oh, fuck yes.
We love it. We love that picture. Okay, Warren will be happy to do that.
Warren loves that photo.
We love that picture.
Okay, but what's Warren's agenda?
Oh no, he makes the cups and stuff.
Yeah. He makes the cups.
Oh, okay.
But he still thinks you're really hot. So
yeah.
Oh. Is he single and half my age?
He has a
I
significant
don't know what he.
other. No, him and Brian are partners. Brian's
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know. Okay, forgive me for have said.
Oh, Warren said he keeps one next to his bed.
Yeah, you used to put it on a tumbler so you could have your cocktail in it. On
Yes,
Misfit.
exactly. Yeah.
Did you see the one they did of me?
Yes, I want to
no.
on a tumbler too.
A Sportcat tumbler? Oh no! Hold on a minute. Let's see. I think I can figure out how to. I got to go to what I got to
can
go.
look.
Yeah.
I don't even have a comment on that.
I think our society should be like, what was that space movie? Space Rangers or it's kind of like Star Wars meets Battlestar Galactica. And there was a nude scene where the guys and the girl troopers, space troopers, they were showering together, and they were just like, another day at the office.
Yeah.
That's how we got to roll.
I don't know. It'd be dangerous.
You should see some of the men's locker rooms I've changed in. You think they're a gay frat party?
Well, you're allowed in the locker room to be a little jocular. Is that the right terminology?
Yeah.
You use that kind of talk according to Donald Trump.
No, I think he says they're very big, or what? I can't do it.
It's locker room talk. All guys talk like that.
That's true.
Do. A lot of women do.
You need to meet those women.
You've met them, Glenn. Yeah. Shut up.
I have?
Hell yeah.
You need to talk. 'Cause, see, my it's not gaydar or womandar. I don't know. Whatever it is incredibly off because I never know if a woman's hitting on me or not. I always just
men are oblivious to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how much my crew loves me.
Oh, that's
the tumbler they made of me. That's going to be for sale if anybody wants one.
That's awesome.
You look like Guy Smiley. You look like Guy Smiley with a mustache.
So funny.
You know what? I thought you how they put those Jesus candles? I thought you could get the candle and put it in there and have your little Sportcat shrine.
That would be funny.
And they asked me, I said, "Were you naked?" I was like, "No, it's at the beach."
Oh, we wonder why you had your shirt off.
Sexy and
none of the Misfits. Just another Saturday night at the Misfits.
Right. I'm kind of a big deal. Perhaps you've heard of me. So
wants to be on the other side. Sportcat, I'm kind of a big deal. Perhaps
that's going to be my new slogan. I'm kind of a big deal. You might have heard of me.
Couldn't get him to quit saying that the other night. I got a hair on my face.
Oh, when we go live February 14th and 21st in Northern Virginia. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah, she wants me by the 12th.
Oh, quicker than me.
Atlanta does. No, Atlanta does.
Oh,
okay.
That's there for you. You're the 8th.
Right? Yeah. I'm Friday, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Atlanta. Yeah.
It looked like.
Well, I signed that last week, I guess.
Do you think my hair looks like Gavin Newsom?
No.
You don't think?
No.
I don't know that I know who Gavin Newsom is.
That's a good thing.
It's the governor of California.
Yeah. No, it's better than
I've seen him, but I wouldn't recognize him.
He grabbed my ass at a New Year's Eve party. Yeah. When I lived out there, it was 2000 New Year's Eve 2006 going into 2007. So everybody and their brother was having a 007 party. Because the year was going to be 007.
Yeah.
So I dressed up in a tuxedo, and his one assistant was a girlfriend of mine, as in like female acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
And she dressed up in like a kind of almost like a flapper dress, like she was a Bond girl. and she introduced me to him while he was a celebrity bartender at some hotel party or some shit, and he smacked me in the ass. Oh. Hey, nice to meet you. Smacked me in the ass. I was like, get the fuck out of my bar, unless you're buying.
Hey. Yeah, Ross, that's the next adventure we ought to open. We ought to open a bar.
Yeah. I almost had, that's what I moved to Tampa for, I was buying a hotel in the St. Pete area in a small town called Gulfport. And at the very last minute, it fell through, and I needed a place to live because I was going to live at the hotel.
Yeah.
So I found this place, like that one, also on the water, and kind of just as good as anything else. I'm certainly not disappointed.
That's good.
I don't have the other camera on. I'd show you what the whole studio looks like.
Yeah.
This is Studio Yergs.
Nice.
High up the Howard Stern building.
I plan on coming down around May. I'm going to drag you out and make you play disc golf. So I'll take the tour of Studio Yergs.
Yeah. I had another neighbor of mine come in the other week, and he hadn't been in here yet. He came in and looked around, looked at it. He just walks in the door and goes, "Oh wow, you're serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
That's why I can't figure out why they want me on TV. I'm just a guy on a microphone, pretty much.
Because you're just a guy on a microphone.
I've always liked the. It's hard for me to listen to a podcast like ours. Another one I listened to tonight. There's one who's also down here in Tampa that I'm actually interested in. But excuse me. Sorry. Anybody that takes like that whole Howard Stern, I'm a celebrity, listen to my life type of story, you either have to, one, be Howard Stern to have a reason for us to be interested in the first place, or you have got to be crazy interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody's staying. And this one guy down here in Tampa, actually, he kind of has like his own whack pack. Yeah, it's kind of what it reminds me of. And they're on the website. They got their own section of the website. This crazy neighbor and this guy whose wife finally lets him out to come over, and all kinds of shit like that. It's he's got his own vanity phone number. One is an 800 vanity phone number, 1-877 or 855, something like that. One of those. His guy's name is Drew, and so the last four numbers spell DREW.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, and there's another one I'm working on for the LGBT station that I've actually found. I don't want to say it because I don't want anybody hearing what it's going to be, and but yeah, that'll have a number too.
Cool.
So I missed it. Who's the guest at Who's Sick tonight?
Professor Schreibner. He is a kind of a magician historian. He does like old type tricks, and he was going to give us a little show while we're on. But he messaged me last night and said that he tested positive for COVID. And he felt like crap, and I was like, "Dude, get well. Don't worry. The show will be here."
Yeah. I've had that 3 times now, at least. That I know of, yeah. And there are other times. One thing I'll say about it is that regardless of the strains I've had, and I've had Delta too, which was supposedly, no, Delta was the weak one. I think Omicron was the one that was
the
increasing deaths again, yeah. And I am, there might be side effects for a percentage of people and whatever else. But I kept up with the shots. I had Moderna, and the first time I had it, I thought I was going to die. I stood with my back up against the wall in my bathroom and looked straight into the vanity. And shirtless, I could count beats per minute just by looking in the mirror.
Wow.
And that's what my blood pressure was like. Second time I had it, I was here in Tampa, kind of a little rough, not too bad. Third time I had it, wasn't even a cold. I just basically tested positive, and that was pretty much it. So there's the long effort or history or whatever you want to call it of developing like a herd immunity. I think that's logical.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, I know there were times also, I think the flu shot saved my life because I have some serious, as you just heard a moment ago, respiratory issues. And, they're not perfect. They don't necessarily prevent from getting the virus, but it does lessen the symptoms and does allow you to rest and fight it. And that's it.
I guess it was the Omicron one. We had went to Pensacola to help one of my wife's family members, and she had it. She was on hospice, so they didn't treat her and didn't tell anybody. And of course, she was the reason we were there for the visit. Come home, and I knew I was going to get sick, but I didn't feel like it was going to be a bad sick. I woke up the next day, and I could literally watch the sweat come out of my body. I was like, I feel horrible. I feel absolutely horrible. It took me a month to get over it. Within a week, I was feeling fine, but it took a month for me to just shake the whole thing. Oh, it was horrible.
I still can't finish most sentences without stopping to take a breath. I'm talking.
There's a new drug for that I've been watching the commercials on. Now, I've often wondered if it wasn't because of either the virus or the shot. I'm not trying to make a political stance from one to the other. And because,
typically they're the same thing.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's what a lot of people didn't understand, but I won't get into that. But I think that it's left us with side effects. So even the flu does. One thing a lot of people don't realize is our DNA. We have in our body the actual codes to viruses from hundreds of years ago. The body has recognized them, stored them, and sometimes will use them for our advantage, and we never know it. So the DNA is a remarkable thing. You can't. It's so hard to understand. So, and trying to make somebody who doesn't understand science is even harder. So, just picture a really big computer ribbon put in a little teeny tiny vial. So that's it.
yeah. I mean, with ladders, with rungs of a ladder on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the whole
one of those connections, and the whole thing's different, and it's a totally separate person.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to figure out. Well, I guess I can announce it. We're gonna have another grandbaby. It's gonna be a boy.
Oh.
And so, I was trying to figure out while they were talking about because they want to make sure they did all the genetic testing and stuff. That's the new thing, and it's very painful for the ladies, I hear. But anyhow, I was trying to figure out from some of the things they were talking about how they were figuring out the traits from each side, because this test went into stuff like that pre-birth.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. So we're gonna have. We're convinced his name is
hair color and shit like that, or do they know the baby's hair color and things like that, or what they're going to do for a living?
They have probabilities of the hair color and stuff like that. Yeah, size, weight, height. We're not height. I mean, at birth.
Right.
Yeah, they don't.
That's called length.
Yeah, I guess it's length since they can't stand. So.
Yeah. Is it your sons or daughters?
It's my son, Kyle. So.
Oh, bless his heart.
And Kyle is our wonderful computer technician behind the scenes.
I bet he's so happy.
He was a little shocked. He wasn't expecting because he had actually, I don't know, maybe I'm telling too much of his personal life. I'll get a message. Me.
Is there a possibility the baby might not look like him?
So no.
Shocked.
it snowed a lot up there. They were bored. So
wow.
Those things can slip up.
I'm a Valentine's Day baby.
Yeah. Are you?
My parents graduated in June of 69. Were married in May of 70. And then their first Valentine's as a married couple was February of 71. And I was born in November. November 1st.
You sure are.
We know how that Valentine's went.
Yeah.
It was the last one of those.
You got brothers and sisters, though, right?
Yeah. A younger brother, two younger brothers. He's 3 years after me. And then the baby brother's another 6 years after him. And with, us being from Pennsylvania and the 3 Mile Island reactor happening in 79 and him being born in 80, we tell him he was a nuclear accident.
That's mean.
Always the baby that gets it. That's funny. Found in a cabbage patch.
The middle kids, my middle brother's baseball coach told him, you know why parents have 3 boys? Because they liked the first one so much they wanted a second one, realized they fucked up, and they had to get a third one.
Oh my gosh, that's so mean.
That's great.
That is good, though.
Hey, speaking of baseball teams, did you see who bought the Orioles?
Yes, I did. I saw that they were for sale. I saw some billionaire has them, or who is that?
Cal Ripken Jr. So it's gonna have the Ripken name.
No shit. Very cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that I missed. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's not. He couldn't afford on his own to buy the team, but he's a whatever you call it, investment owner. So
that'd
be great. And his son, last I heard, Cal's son was playing, but I don't know how well. So I don't know how many generations they could keep it up, but that's just great that the Ripken family has got a big stake in the Orioles.
How long did Senior go?
Oh Lord, a long time. I don't even know. I mean, it was when I first was starting to watch baseball, and then he went on into coaching right after that. He was like my entire life around it. So
yeah.
Of course, we know Iron Man Cal.
Yeah, we watched the night he broke that record. That was fun. It was a fun night.
I know. I did too. Yeah. I was. They aired it in. Actually, I think they aired it in a national game.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, you can't miss that. Larry, what was his name? I knew I had met. I don't know him, but I met the guy who worked home plate for that game. And when you fill out a lineup card as a manager, it's in triplicate. So there's your 9-player batting order. With the American League, there's 10 players because they have the designated hitter. And then all your other available players are listed at the bottom. And then when one of those players comes in the game, the umpire will put the first one will be a letter A. And then the person that they're going in for, they'll put the A by that person's name. So they now know this person's in that spot. And you put like a dot at the top of the A or the bottom of the A to say they came in at the top or bottom of whatever inning, and then you put the number there. So A6 top means you came in on top of the 6th.
Okay.
Whether you were batting or on defense, it was the top of the 6. For that game, the American League issued not in triplicate, but whatever it would be, 6 tuplet, 6 copies per lineup card, so that there would be souvenirs for after. And of course, the originals go to the home plate umpire, who never collected or turned them in at the end of the game. So he donated them to charity for a charity raffle. And just those 2 pieces of paper brought that charity thousands of dollars.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah.
He could have kept them and put them on his I love me wall somewhere. But, that's the type of guy he was. He gave them away. And then he personally handed them over, up to the winner.
That's great. That's great. That's kind of like the first Red Sox World Series. The pitcher picked up the ball and stuffed it in his back pocket. It's plain to see on video. And he forgot to give it to the Hall of Fame or whatever, the museum. And they said, "Where was it?" And he goes, "I was playing catch with my dog with it." I forget which pitcher that was. He was a young blonde kid. And I was like, "Oh, you just made a horrible mistake."
When it's him, I think it adds, if I did it or you did it, some schlub off the street did it, then it fucks things up. But for somebody like the actual pitcher that was in the game, if they do turn it into a museum or whatever, it kind of adds mojo to it. It's like a rock star getting a scratch on the guitar. It's part of the story.
I thought it was so funny that he's like, he didn't think any more about it than, it was just another game to him, and he's playing catch with his dog. Here's the ball. It's a little soggy. I had speaking of baseball, it's God, how many days away is it? I meant to look. I used to go to Braves spring training when they were in Orlando, and it's always a good show. It was a Disney thing, and so it was always nice. And I noticed the seats beside me, there was like 4 to the row were empty, and everyone else was sold out. And about halfway through the third, guys came down and they cleared like another little small area, and they brought somebody in and sat him down like a seat over from me, and then security stood in the aisle. And I'm like, this is... And I wasn't trying to be obvious or pay attention. I realized it was Tommy Lasorda.
Oh, wow.
As soon as the inning broke, people were running up to get autographs. That's why security was there. And I will say he would refuse a kid's autograph if they didn't say please. If they just stuck it in his face, he'd be like, "You need to come back when you learn some manners."
Oh, well, good for him.
That's what he would say?
Yeah. He'd say, "Go tell your parents that I said come back when you can learn some manners." Because they just walk up, jam in his face, and he'd be like, "Next."
Well, he needs to talk to you,
and good for him. In all fairness, that's kind of sort of what it's like. I'm still here. My video card keeps crapping out. I guess I got to get that fixed.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, in all fairness to the kids, that it's if you're not pushy like that, you'll get stepped over, especially the small ones. Most of those guys are just they're signing autographs in some cases because they have to. Speaking of which, Cal Ripken was known for signing autographs after the game and being there no matter what time till every autograph was signed.
Yep.
Yeah. He always seemed like really
his
nice.
love for baseball was.
Mm-hmm.
What was cool is I ended up sitting next to him, and right before the end of the game, that was great. That was even better. Having a play-by-play Lasorda.
Ripken. Okay.
Yeah, I sat next to Lasorda, having a play-by-play call about Tommy Lasorda. Well, I had my own personal little announcer there, and he was showing me little tips and tricks and stuff, things of the game I never realized. And so that was cool. And right before the end of it, I was like, "Sir, I'm really sorry, but I had this baseball. I was going to get some of the Braves to autograph because it was the Atlanta Braves baseball." I said, "But personally, since I sat with you during the game, I'd rather have you autograph it if you don't mind." I said, "I really kind of hate to ask you since you've been bothered for so long." He's like, "No, not at all." And he signed it and hands it back to me. He goes, Did you notice that?" He goes, "Yeah, I just added an extra $250 to your eBay." And I looked at it. He said, "Yeah, I put HOF behind it." And I still didn't get it. I was like, "What's that mean?" He goes, "I'm a Hall of Fame."
Oh.
He goes, yeah, for your eBay, I just give you an extra $250. I'm like, dude, this is never going to go on eBay. In fact, it's still sitting on a shelf right up there.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll never do that. Hey, our second guest just hopped in. Go ahead.
And that's, those guys know their worth. I was working Bill Clinton one visit in San Francisco. There were guys that met us at whatever San Francisco airport has, whether the company is, whether it's Signature or Millionaire or, whatever the NetJets, whatever the private flight-based operation place is. They met us there. The California Highway Patrol shoot him away. We load him up and get him in the motorcade and get him from airport up the peninsula into the city to the hotel, to the Fairmont Hotel, with a California Highway Patrol and then San Francisco PD escort. Those kids beat us to the Fairmont Hotel.
Dang.
They're waiting for us in the parking garage.
That's crazy.
Same kid.
That's funny.
And Bill, when he, obviously he loves people in general. You're a Republican, he loves you too. And he knows. He goes, "How much am I worth today, fellas?" Knowing that they're taking that on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to add our second guest in, Mike Eback. He is joining us for another podcast.
Hello.
Hey. We greeted him a little early there. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. Jump in the conversation. This is Dina, and this is Ross Bergs. He's the radio station owner. He copped in here since he knew we were going to be lonely and decided to grace us with his beauty. So,
it's good to meet you all.
I was supposed to be on Corey's tonight.
Oh, you better get.
I gotta go. I got a big apology.
Yeah,
see you guys.
We said we had. So, see you, Ross.
See you guys.
See you later.
I barely said 2 words, and I already offended him enough to.
No. We were gabbing, and he forgot he was supposed to be on another podcast.
Sure. Hey, I get it. Those schedules can get pretty crazy. But thank you for the introduction. I'm Michael Eback. I am one of the hosts on the improv comedy podcast M&A's Excellent Adventures. I've been doing the rounds for guesting right now on a few different shows. And when this Glenn reached out to me and said, offered me a guest spot, and I checked it out and I thought that it'd be a good fit. So I'm very, very excited to be here.
Glad to have you.
Oh, welcome. We're glad you're here. And thank you for coming in earlier. My first guest, he has COVID. So I was like, and I was like, no. The show will still be there. Go take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much more important in a silly podcast, Not that I'm kind of a big deal. No. I've been telling everybody I'm kind of a big deal. You might know me. Now, we've been growing a little faster than I anticipated. We're on WDJY in Atlanta, and I just got a contract to go on Radio Fairfax outside of Washington, D.C., and so we're going to be in the Washington, D.C. market, and then they added us to a cable channel. I'm not really clear how that works. I guess we're just the background for when you hit the guide button or something. But
sure, that's pretty cool, though.
I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. So I was kind of excited. We had grown so fast. And the lady today told me, she goes, "You're going to be ready for TV soon?" And I said, "Have you seen me? I'm like 5'11", 400 pounds. There's no chance in hell that I'll work on TV."
He was like, "No, we're not ready." And I was like, "No, we're not ready." And last night I said, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we're ready, whatever.
That's right.
And the lady was like, "Y'all are ready. Y'all are ready."
Yeah,
you can do it.
Like, I look like a young Jeremy. Come on, there's no chance.
I definitely say go for it. Clearly you've got the chops. So I think it's time for the prime time. I think it's
raw,
time
but
to
we're
go.
going prime time, baby.
There you go. Yeah. Let's jump in there.
A guy with a mic that likes to talk a lot. So kind of a big deal too. So
okay, yeah.
He keeps telling himself that to
eventually I will be.
Yeah.
So your show, you do your own show. You do your own comedy, or you invite comedians in, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so it's myself, and then I have a.
I'm just wanting to let the audience know.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's myself, and then I have a co-host, Anthony, and we tell stories. We tell improv stories every single week. We go back and forth. One of us will bring a premise and a character or a couple characters, and the other person has no idea of any of this information. And then once we've got the setup for the story, we just improvise the rest of it. So it's really fun. It's chaotic sometimes, but we just released episode 106. So 106 episodes in, and we have episode 107 is actually a huge one. We have 8 guests on the show, and we had AI actually write the story for us with like a screenplay, and all of us have parts in there. But not a single one of us actually read what the story was before recording. So all of us went in blind. It was a blast. And yeah, we've invited comedians on before and different podcasters just to add some more energy to it. And everybody always just has a lot of fun, and we just tell some silly stories.
That sounds awesome.
Cool. Sounds like what you're trying to do to me Saturday, Dina.
Yes, it's close. We're going to do it in one word, though. We're going to like make a sentence. We're going to go around and everybody says one word and make the sentence. It's absolutely hilarious. My daughter and my mom and I used to play this game where we would do it, and sometimes my brother and my sister-in-law would join in, and other people in the family, my granny, when she was alive. But we'd sit out on the front porch and just laugh till we couldn't breathe. But it was so fun, and it was just like that. It would just go off the wall because you could make it go anywhere and just do it until somebody would end it.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
absolutely. I've played it a couple times, and I was always one of the people who would kind of throw in some curveballs and maybe try to derail the story into some different direction a bit. But that's always that's super fun. I love those.
It is. Yeah, Glenn apparently has never played it.
Never played it. Yeah. Now I'm going to be herding the cats and trying to keep it FM radio appropriate. So.
It doesn't have to be.
Did I? Oh, I didn't know if I.
No, you're fine.
You're good. You're good. We were gonna do top of the hour. We'll switch over to normal. So, but
no, it's fine. You didn't. No, he's never played it and doesn't really know what to expect. But I think it'll be fun.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I know I'm going to say something stupid. Usually my role is I play the stupid.
Yeah.
One of the guys that come on our show frequently, he would always have a different name. You know how you type your name in the bottom of the screen there. And I would reading it, and I'd be like reading it 4 or 5 times. Everybody's dying laughing. Like, what? What? I don't get it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was Dixon Cider one. Yes. What was another one that I got that one pretty quick? Dixon Cider. That's what his name was.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Dixon Cider.
Cider. Oh.
Cider.
That's
DIXL and CIDER.
When you say it fast, it's kind of like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it was definitely so. Yeah, they do that to me every Saturday.
Hugh Janus
That's a classic. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we get to where I would be like, all right, somebody else is going to read this. I'm not trying. Not even
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, they used to goof me. So I'm usually the slow one. Well, Dina and I were talking earlier, and we're talking about women when they hit on you and stuff. She's like, "Yes, they have. You're just oblivious." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?"
I said men are oblivious. I said,
well, yeah.
You knew women who talked locker room talk.
I must have never met them.
No, I told you know who they are.
Listen, Dina, it's really you.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
crazy person.
Well, do what?
Crazy
so, person. I am absolutely. So, Mike, when you started this out, was there somebody you aspired to when you wanted to do the show, or was this just an idea you and your buddies came up with, or how did that go?
Yeah, so I've been a big fan of, there's a podcast network called the Headgum Network, and they have a show on there called Review that's ran by a couple friends of mine, and they do improv comedy in a different way. They take online reviews of different products, and then they'll do improv bits around those reviews, and it's so funny. But I just remember listening to it, and just how much fun they were having was infectious, and I was like, that's what I want to do. But I don't want to copy them, so I took a couple days and sat and mulled it over, and it actually all came together when the tagline came first. So in every single episode, our whole thing before we get into the story is we do this build up, and sometimes there's a bunch of rhyming where it's like our guests are screaming and all this kind of stuff. Tell me a story. That's our tagline, and that came before anything else, and then the pieces just kind of fell into place. It just was such a silly thing to say earnestly that I just loved it. So yeah, and then it all just came from there. But that was definitely the inspiration. Neither my co-host nor I had any improv training or anything like that. We had both done theater. We were both wedding MCs at the time as well. So, I mean, when it came to performing and entertaining and stuff, that was, what we did and who we are still. But yeah, the improv stuff was definitely a bit of a learning experience. But after 100+ episodes, we've developed a good chemistry, and sometimes it still goes a little off the rails, but we're pretty good at steering the ship now.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's such fun. I love it. I mean, this is my first really foray into, like, I guess doing it professionally or semi-professionally or whatever we're doing.
I'm not a professional. How dare you?
Well, whatever we're doing, and I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we've met some really awesome people as well. Like I said, we've had some comedians on, and just some other podcasters, and those are some of our favorite episodes. We've really perfected the craft of setting our guests up to be the funniest person in the room. Oh, yeah. So then we're just laughing hysterically the entire time as they're just killing it. So yeah, it's so much fun.
That's very cool.
That is cool.
Go ahead.
I do.
I was going to say, yours is probably much better. I hear feedback, but it's me. Yours is probably much better.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Shut up. Yours is probably much different than what we do. We just sit and talk a lot. We have been sitting and just talking a lot, just amongst ourselves, and we just, sort of just make up stuff as we go along. But
sure.
Kind of like if you go to a bar and sit down and that was what it is.
Yeah, we just conversation and stuff.
Yeah.
But telling a story, I mean, when you have a specific direction to go is a lot different. So I'd say that would be a little bit more difficult.
It's definitely a challenge. Sometimes you're just sitting there during the week and something comes to you and you're just like, oh, or you see something on TV or what have you, and you're like, there you go, and the ball starts rolling.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can come up with a good character, a good setup for the story. And other times it's 2 hours before recording and I'm sitting there like, I can't think of anything. Like, I am struggling to put something together. Let's just start and just see if I can string enough, and then and it always usually it ends up working out. So so it's a lot of fun there, and we've carefully crafted. There's a few tricks, I guess, that are tried and true that we use. Since there's two of us, the odd couple is always like a good thing to play into, where one of us is kind of wacky and the other one's a little bit more of the straight man to play off of each other. So but no, it's definitely a challenge from time to time to think of something.
That's true.
Which let me do the famous commercial thing. And when we come back, we will make sure we're FM ready. So let's hit this commercial. I'm not good. All right, here we go. I do love the commercial, though. Try to play it. That's all.
Let's get ready to rumble!
I'm Miranda Maverick, and when I'm in fight camp, I never listen to the Sportcat podcast.
Yay! All right. Welcome to everybody from WDJY and Radio Fairfax. I can't keep a straight face. I love the video. So, if anybody's wondering, it's the Miranda Maverick video that I love. We had Miranda on twice now, and she's coming on again a third time. Do you know who Miranda is by any chance?
The name sounded familiar, but nothing clear is really coming to mind.
She is number 15th ranked in MMA, professional female in the flyweight division.
Okay. Going
to be the next Ronda Rousey. Yeah. I mean, I got money on it. And she's a super sweet girl. Love her to death. I chat with her every now and then. And so I ask, it's an old thing from a radio station up north where I grew up. The DJ, whenever he have somebody famous on there, he'd ask them to do a commercial and say, when I'm whatever, I never listened to the Sportcat pod. And so that's what I'm trying to get, a collection of my famous ones. And she's the only one I got at the moment. I got a couple. Rich Fields he said he was, and he said he wasn't going to do it. Rich Fields is the announcer for The Price is Right. Come on down, that guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
On a few weeks ago. He said he was going to do it, then he said he wasn't going to do it. I'm like,
so they're saying I never listen to the sport.
Yeah. I never listened to the sport.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
When I'm in fat camp, I never listen to the Sportcat.
That's amazing.
It's cool.
Yeah. They're trying to explain the concept to somebody. They're like, you want a serious commercial, but when you tell them I never listened to you, I said, yes, that's exactly what I want you to say.
It's so good. I love that.
Yeah. So, I stole that from a DJ up out of Washington, D.C., where I grew up. So,
hey, don't mind.
Radio Fairfax listeners, I'll play it for you later, and you'll know instantly where I got the idea from. Yeah. It was just a thing that come to me. So, just
love it.
Rolled with it. So, yeah. And, I have found sometimes I will be super stressed out, an hour before the show. And I'm like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? Have I got the cats lined up, or somebody will get sick or whatever. And I get all super stressed out about it. But I'm learning more as I go along. You know what? Sometimes some of the best stuff comes from when just off the cuff,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and I used to I still get super stressed, but I used to just be like all uptight about it. And now I'm just telling them, like, just show up. That's all I want. So.
Mhm.
Facebook user says they never listen either. Yay. Anonymous.
Right on. They are just
Thanks.
exactly where we need them to be.
Exactly.
Get on Facebook. Get over on YouTube. I need to like, follow, and share. So.
That, yeah, I'm 100% with you there.
I read something. It's your daughter. Oh, that's
Oh.
she never
You
listens.
lie. You do listen.
I just lost my whole train of thought there. What the hell were we talking about?
When I saw that, I thought, for some reason, when I was looking at it, I saw It's Your Daughter, and I was like, my daughters are 2 and almost 1. There's no way.
It could have been my daughter, but she knows
Yeah.
she doesn't listen.
None of my kids listen. Well, they claim that I have this fake voice I put on when I'm on the radio. I don't see it personally, but claim
Only when you do the station break thing.
in WDJY
Yes,
99 on your FM dial.
You sound the same to me as you've always sounded. So
I talk louder because I'm deaf and I can't hear myself, I guess. So.
well, there you go.
Too many years around fire trucks and jet engines, so
That'll do it.
That was my full-time career. When I started out doing this, I started in 2015, and I literally started with one of those little Sony digital recorders, and then bringing it over and editing that out and all this. And I just wanted to do a show about comic books. That's all it was, just a show about comic books. And so I did like 5 episodes or something. It was just me talking about comic books. And then I just kind of faded away, didn't do it for a while. And a couple people encouraged me. I tried it again. And this time I did, I had the mic and set up and everything. I just did a regular old show. And I just kind of faded away. I think I did 2 or 3 episodes and I kind of stopped. It wasn't until later a friend approached me and he said, well, let's try and do it. And by this time, things were more settled in my life. I had young kids earlier, so that makes it much more complicated. And so I was like into the paranormal that time, but I was the Bigfoot guy. And I said, well, how about we have a show where one person believes everything that comes out of the person we're interviewing's mouth, and the other one's like, oh, heck no. There's something wrong with you. You're sick in the head if you believe there's a magical monkey in the woods, or whatever the topic may be, And then, so I started watching all these shows, and I've noticed there's like a round of people that go round to talk almost on every show. That's great, but I want to be different. So I said, let's start interviewing people that don't have paranormal experience and ask them about paranormal experience. Mm-hmm. Take Miranda, for example. She got us hooked on this story at the end of the interview where they're in a tent. They're out camping in Montana or somewhere, and it's pitch black, and there's this creature outside of her tent, and we're all like, oh, did it catch you? We're like, oh, yeah. It was her dad.
Oh,
of course.
So, it was, and then we've had Rich Fields. He was looking at apartments or condos and talked to a lady that was dead, and the apartment was supposed to be empty. And he went back and said, hey, the apartment's not empty. I'll come back later or whatever. And then the guy's like, no, it's empty. She died last week. He's like, what? Yeah. And he's like, she was like flesh and blood. So you never know what you're going to get, and that's what I love about it is when whether it's an author, whether it's an entertainer, if Brandon would never tell that story on ESPN. And Rich isn't going to tell that to TMZ, so that's kind of like my little niche. That's what I like.
Sure,
so
sure.
I think it's cool too. Plus, you get to hear stuff that you tuned in and you want to hear about a monkey running through the woods. Okay, cool. I got that too, but it's not always going to be that. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. It seems to have been working so far. I don't get it, but
Pretty good.
I think that's also the whatever behind it is. It's like I still keep working to be like, okay, it's got to be better. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand the whole process. It's like everything is falling into place, and you're losing my mind, or
I don't know why this is happening. I know, Wendell. I left it open. I'm sorry. I usually close it.
It's kind of
maybe it opened slowly.
Scary that our audience notices this.
I know. I said that right before we started. I was like, dang it. Left my door open.
The door closes. So that'll be even better.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like the old like, follow, and share. Yeah, I recently read that the algorithm on YouTube, if you say that too much during your show, they automatically move your show to the bottom of the feed.
Oh, really?
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? So, so how do you're trying to grow and gain listeners, but the companies hosting your show are against you. So
yeah, it's tough to fight those algorithms and to kind of work that system. It's especially when the system is changing so frequently that to stay on top of it, to not only try to catch up to it and also keep up with it at the same time. Like it's a struggle, but gotta work that algorithm to get those clicks, right?
Yeah. They change the rules often, and you don't know what's right and what's wrong.
Yep.
Do you all do a lot of other shorts or reels or TikToks?
Not yet. Well, so every episode that we do, we will this is more recently, but we'll find a really funny part of it, or we'll almost make like a short that's sort of like a trailer for it. But we'll use that in our promotional cycle for each episode. So yeah, we do that on TikTok and everything, but we haven't started actually filming any sketches. We've gotten a few written down and some scripts and some ideas. But where I'm from, it is horrendously cold usually at this time of year. And we also both have really busy schedules. So sometimes even finding time to record the podcast is difficult enough. So it's definitely something we really want to do. It's just finding the time and kind of putting it together.
Okay, so you just do this as a hobby then? I mean, it's like on the side. Not a hobby, but you know what I mean.
Right.
You both have jobs.
Yeah, we both have full-time jobs. And then I have 2 little kids, and he's getting married this year, and so like our lives are very, very, very busy outside of the podcast.
Yeah. So, oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. But one day we're gonna get to your level, your status. We're gonna get on TV. We're gonna get on the radios, and then we're set. Then we're good. Yeah. Then we have nothing. We can just kick back and rake it in.
It'll happen. I don't know how, but it'll happen. I'm still trying to figure out the house. Well, out of all the people you've interviewed, and yours are pre-recorded, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So, out of all of yours, who have you found, comedian-wise, that you liked the most or played well the most, that was entertaining, I guess, to have on? Not just voice.
Sure. It's tough to say. We've had a lot of guests that are very charismatic, and we always have a lot of fun with them. Some that stick out, and it's not necessarily on the guest, just the way that it played out. Bob Buell, who's a good friend of mine, he has a podcast called 99 Questions, and I think the most charismatic person I've ever met in my life. Like, just so casually charming. Just so I mean, he was just immediately a natural fit. And then another guy, Kevin Carrier, who also has the Hangover Comedy podcast, and he's a stand-up comedian and he does improv. So when he came in, I mean, he jumped right into it. He was the first guest we ever had that we had never met before at all.
Wow.
And so we were a little nervous because usually we either knew the person or we'd worked with them a little bit. And he took to it like he was better than we were. Yeah. So, oh man. And that was so fun. We did that episode. It was the story was like a reality TV show. And so in editing, I would do the little cutaway to the room where they have the private little so that took a while to edit, and it was tricky to do in an improvised story, but and Kevin nailed it and is so funny. Honestly, I could go on and on. I gush over our guests all the time because they are just some of the funniest people I know, and they make it so fun. But those are two that we usually get the most feedback on, and I apologize if anyone feels offended that I didn't mention them.
That's hard to pick.
Kind of a big deal. You got a short memory.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, when you start getting people on you don't know and you don't know what to expect, it is hard. I mean, I've had guests where it's like fishing. I'm going to throw something out there, and then they're going to go, yes. And I'm going to go, prepared to throw the next thing out there. All right. So, where it's real, it's hard. And I've had others just take off with it. And it's an adaptation, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. The authors have been some of our best guests because they have a story to tell, literally. Right. And then they also are very good at going along with whatever it is. So we had Jonathan, Mayberry, is that it? Newberry. He's written a lot for DC Comics. He's got his own thing out. And great. I mean, he knew everything. And when people were throwing questions at him about the Marvel Universe and about Batman, and he could field every one of them. And so that made much easier because I'm sitting here going, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. And we thankfully we haven't really had any guests that weren't super fun to work with. The only time that things got a little awkward was so Zoom, which is what we usually record over with guests, doesn't really do my co-host and I any favors in regards to I'm mixed. I'm part black and my co-host is Mexican. We do not look like it over Zoom. And I made a joke about Anthony, my co-host, being like a Mexican Santa. And the guests we had on, it got very awkward because they were like, are we pretending to be different races? And I was like, no. But there was I had to edit it down. There was a good like 30 seconds of silence because it was like they did not get it. Once I explained it, it was fine and it was very funny. But that was like the only time where it was like, what is going on right now?
That would be awkward.
Yeah. The train just halted and I was like, I don't know, where's the miscommunication? So now a lot of times with guests we'll preface that, we'll be like, just in case anything comes up, this is the situation, so like it's all right.
Oh my gosh.
You're racist and it's just hang up.
Right. Just like
too.
Yeah. But I'm like, it is not that kind of podcast. We're we're not trying to bring you on and then drag you down or anything. We're good. We're good.
It's great. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes your little inside jokes they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't translate over.
Yep. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yep. I get it. Yeah. Yeah. So, because like I said, I'm kind of a big dad. I just started saying that recently because Dina was messing with me the other night. And so nobody else goes, he kind of thinks a lot of himself. If you really knew me, I'd be like, no, not me. And, it's also, you have to put on this, well, I don't want to call it like you're bipolar, but you have to also kind of put on a little bit different personality because you're a performer,
Oh, yeah.
And people tuned into this hour to listen to you. They want to know what you're doing. So you got to kind of.
Yeah, it's definitely just taking your personality and just cranking the volume up.
Right. Put a little flourish on it.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Dina, the hot mom, So.
Yeah.
The most sexually harassed hot mom on radio, I might add. So
yeah.
By me.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a claim to fame that you want, but there you go. All right.
Yeah. Earlier, I asked her if she got a lot of eggplant pictures, and she's like, "No."
No, I didn't. I said no. Thank goodness.
I will put her email address out there for you, ladies and gentlemen.
I cut that.
There you go.
Oh man. So yeah, and that's the other thing. I have kind of rotating co-hosts too. So I'm never sure until like 20 minutes maybe before who's going to be on. And I know if I've got ex co-host come on, I could kind of lay back and let him or her do more of the questions. Or if I got this one come on, I'm going to be doing more. Yeah. So that's the other thing. You kind of build it as it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And you've made it up to 106, so you're doing something right. I mean,
I guess so.
You are.
Yeah. What was your funniest episode?
Our funniest episode?
Yeah, to you. No, I'll say to you. How about that?
That's a tough one. I think it's I think the funniest episode, my favorite episode is it's somewhere in I think it's episode 72. So the character that I brought, the whole story I set up was I made Anthony play a character who basically lives as if he's a character in a musical. However, no one else is that way. So he's breaking out into song. And everyone around him is like, "What are you doing?"
I love it.
And
they don't know.
And so, I played all of the other characters. So yeah, they're like, and there are times where they're like, "Oh my gosh, like here he goes again. Like let's just get out of the room." He improvised some fantastic musical numbers that they're so catchy. They're dramatic when they need to be, and it was art. It was amazing. I love it. And that is one of the episodes I'm like, if you're gonna jump into our show, that's like us at our best of just improvising musical numbers and all this. Oh my gosh, episode 72. I think it's we did have a sequel episode where that character made a comeback, so I might be getting those confused, but it's it's like the new American Saga is in the title of the episode. So yeah, definitely.
I have to go back and look at that one. So
yeah,
I couldn't sing. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
We managed to harmonize pretty nicely a few times, which was a surprise. So yeah.
You had prior experience there, so
a little bit, yeah.
I meant to ask earlier, what town are you, or what part of the world are you in? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm right on the North Dakota-Minnesota border. I'm in the Fargo-Moorhead area, so We're having a heat wave right now in January. Ooh. Yeah, it's in the 40s, which is crazy.
That is pretty warm.
Yeah, usually we're in the negative 40s right now. So this is bizarre. February is going to hit us. I'm not falling for it. It's going to turn around. But yeah, we're living pretty nice right now. It's like t-shirt weather to just kind of hang out. Yeah.
I've seen Fargo.
Yeah.
I know how cold it looks.
Yeah, everyone's got their wood chippers up and running. Like, it's going great right now.
Nice.
It's 40 here in Atlanta. So we haven't we got a couple cold days, but it's been, for the most part, fairly decent. We don't drive in Atlanta.
I didn't think it got that cold in Atlanta, I guess.
Oh yeah, we are right on that line where it divides. A little bit south of us, and palm trees and sun. Yeah. So we're right on that line. And that's also bad for when it decides to snow. We're right on that line, and we're either going to get rain or we're going to get ice. We don't get the pretty white.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get the Yankee dander. We get the ice. So, yeah. I don't like that, but now I'm from Knoxville. Dina's in Knoxville, and I'm from the area. And mountain snow, love it, but don't like the cold as much. So,
yeah, it's nasty. Last year we had. Well, I guess in 2020, oh my gosh, what year is it? In 2022, it started snowing in October, and it did not stop until April. We had snow. We had snow on the ground, and it did not leave until April. That was a nasty winter. Usually, it ebbs and flows a little, but no, it didn't go anywhere. It just stayed.
Do you have a season called mud season?
I guess we don't call it. It's winter season and construction season are usually what our two seasons are.
Because everything falls in.
My son moved to Vermont, and right after it starts warming up and all the snow melts and starts coming down from the mountain, they call it mud season. Sure, and I went up to visit him, and I wasn't expecting it's mud on the highways. I mean, on the roadways. They have to plow the mud off. And it's literally it's like slimy mud. And I'm like, couldn't live like this. And then he's already got like 6 feet of snow. I'm like, what? Why do you move here? what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, we have, I mean, it gets slushy and gross and stuff, but I mean, Fargo is just flat. There's like no land elevation. So, there's nothing to slide around or to come down any mountains or anything. It just kind of sits.
It's just kind of there.
It's just kind of there. Yeah.
He's at the base. I guess it's the Green Mountains up the top there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's Green Mountains. As much mud comes down, it seems to me those mountains be getting smaller and smaller. I don't know any of this weather stuff, but that just seems to be common sense. I don't know. Summer push it back up. I don't know how does this work.
Right.
I don't know how.
They just move it to the next town.
Exactly. They send it to Maine.
Yeah.
Maine, it's your turn in the hole.
Yep.
So I'm backtrack a little bit. You write the shows, or you just start with the premise, right? And then you make it. I don't want to say make it up because obviously you got a little something in your head, I guess.
Yeah, but there's generally a little something there. But yes, so we do our little intro, we chat a little bit, and then we set up the story. And so, like, if I'm the main host for that episode, we have a PowerPoint so we have an idea where like settings might go, but it doesn't always follow. So we set the scene and like, here's your character. This is the situation. And then, pretty much everything after that is made up. I mean, I would have an idea of where I'm thinking it will go, but oftentimes it's just left and right turns and, but we've gotten good at navigating that and being able to at least have a conclusion that makes sense, at least kind of making it coherent. There was some episodes that never got released because when we were done recording, we were like, that was a mess. That was so bad. That just totally went off the rails. Let's try again. So that can happen. But yeah, other than that, like, we don't script anything aside from when I'm telling him who his character is.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, all the conversations, everything is just right off the top of the head.
Cool.
And you haven't had any stories without an end yet?
No, we usually find a way to end it. And interestingly enough, and they're the most fun moments. Sometimes we're so in sync that we both are like leading in the exact same direction of what the ending should be. And we have a moment where one of us will say something and the other one will go like, that's exactly where I was going to take this. And then we're able to play off that. And so those are always really exciting to know, like, hey, I'm going to actually get the ending I was hoping to get.
I bet that happens more often than not, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you kind of get in sync.
Yeah, exactly.
The more you work together.
We get really in sync, and we're able to just play off each other so much and so well that, and we both usually, if it doesn't, it usually ends up better than we intended it to. Yeah. And it was like, wow, like there was one episode where I played this cowboy that was obsessed with cats, and there was some meteor crash, and this old man was like escorting me to the meteor crash, and he was the old man. And then he started saying some like weird, cryptic, mysterious things and whatever. And so like I was like, who are you? And he's like, your worst nightmare. And then he was going to continue talking, but I was like, and then I pull out a gun and I shoot you in the head. And that was the end of it, because I was like, I know what that means. No, you're not gonna get the jump on me. So he was ready to like get into this whole thing, and I was like, no. So stuff like that'll happen. It's just super fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Is there one particular genre, or you've said musical? You sounds like Western. You've added aliens in.
Oh, everything: musicals, westerns, horror, comedy. I mean, everything is comedy, but horrors, love triangles, love squares, I guess. Like, mall Santa situations, reality TV, everything. Like, after we always try to keep the setting fresh, we try to think of something new. So absolutely anything is on the table.
Did you have an inspiration, like any old television shows or anything like that inspired you to do the improv?
Both of us grew up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think everybody,
I love it.
And I just love that show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Benj. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think you said that at the beginning, but I wonder if there were any others, like older shows or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the main one. I mean, sometimes for a story, we'll get inspiration by watching an older show or watching something. But in regards to our improv and like some of the different games, some of the different things or twists that we'll do, we'll think back to like, what did those guys do and how could we maybe incorporate that? And one way that we did a live show back last year in April at this convention. And it was our first live show, and we did like lines from a hat, basically. So every single person who came in to watch our show, we gave them a slip of paper, and we were like, write something on there. Throughout the story, we're going to randomly draw from the hat. And we have to read and figure out a way to fit whatever this line is into the story. And that went over so huge.
I bet that was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, so we're always just kind of looking at ways we can improve and different things we can just have fun.
The scenarios you described reminded me. Did you ever watch the Carol Burnett show? I know it's older than dirt. You probably didn't, but
Oh, I'm sure I've seen bits and
reruns.
pieces. I've absolutely heard of it, but I've never actually like sat and watched it before.
It's on YouTube, and
Sure.
if you ever get a chance to watch it, I'm sure. I mean, in the costuming and everything is old, but it will crack you up.
Oh, right on. I will definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, just the skits and stuff they did are amazing. The comedy, it's comedy gold.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard, like I said, I've heard of it. I'm sure I've seen parts of it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will absolutely have to check
Yeah,
that out.
I think you'd like it. I mean,
I
it was.
sure
I was
hope
a
so.
kid when it was on, but I mean, it ran from like 60 something to like in the mid 70s,
Sure.
maybe early 80s. So
Yeah, I was thinking
it
early
was
80s.
really popular. Yeah, early 80s, I think maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I had heard of it, and I was born in the 90s, so
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah, you're a baby. You're a little baby.
She was one of the
But,
first real female comedians that kind of made it,
Yeah,
if you think about it.
but
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's what I was saying. She did it by with her skit humor. Her
Oh yeah, a lot of
they,
pratfall comedy and stuff like that. But my daughter grew up watching Who's Line, and I watched it with her, of course, and we loved that show together. Just
Yeah.
we watched it all the time. But yeah, that's one of our favorite things. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn her on to your show. I mean your channel. She'll like it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Hart says there's really nothing new under the sun. I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, you're making fun of different people, but he's quick to point out you can't do that anymore, without somebody getting their feelings hurt. So, comedy is dead from what we used to know it to be.
Sure.
And I think it's kind of our job as podcasters to bring it back, really, because if you don't, we're just like, I'm a guy with a mic. If you don't like me, tune me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The person that does like me is going to, what I'm saying, I will influence somebody. And I think it's our job to get out of this little rut with comedy, because it's safe to make fun of politicians and stuff like that, but
Right.
you got to be able to have fun with yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could sit and make fun of each other, on our when there's a group of people, and people will complain.
Right.
They can. I'm sure Glenn gets a lot of complaints about us making fun of each other or stuff.
PETA.
Yeah, we've gotten complaints from PETA before because
Oh, wow.
because somebody said something about hitting a possum.
Well, you better take it easy with PETA.
I know.
Possums in a bag or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy. It was just, I mean.
So yeah, that's also one of our gags. I'll be, oh, great. Now you got PETA. You're gonna.
Yeah.
Last week when Tina had us playing video games where I would read whatever the computer generated, and it was what I would rather or rather not, I think is what it was. And so it come time to go to Andy. Yeah, would you rather? And the question was, would you rather be glued to an aircraft wing or the front of a cruise ship or something like this? And I'm sitting here looking at this question. Andy is in a wheelchair. Has been his entire life. I'm like, how am I going to ask a guy with a straight face, can I put your ass on a wing? Because then I started picturing it, and they're watching me, and I'm trying so hard not to crack up. I'm going,
like, oh no.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, we treat him. There's like before Brenda, where she was in the chat, before Brenda quit, we had a guy. I mean, Glenn and I were both crippled up too, but not. We have Andy in a wheelchair. Brenda is in a wheelchair. She's had part of her leg cut off. And Jason, who just joined us recently, he's had an amputation as well, and he's in a wheelchair.
Wow.
So we're
So I call my Misfit.
we're a mess. Yes.
Yeah. So that's I told him, I was like, great. The ADA is going to be emailing me now. Just great.
Our two comments that we always talk about, or not comments, messages that we've gotten. They were the first two we ever got. One person messaged us and said, "Stop." The other person messaged us and said, "Why?" And those are the two we always promote.
Yeah.
We always bring it up. We wear them like badges of honor.
Yes.
They motivate us to just keep going through them. We got stop and why. So we always say that too when we're telling people, we're like, if you want to message us or email here at, and we throw out our email, and I'm like, you can, if you want to submit us a premise, if you want to give us some feedback, if you want to tell us to stop, or if you want to ask us why, those are perfect places to do it. And we just,
One of our other guys, his name on the screen is BobbyDizzle.com, and we just like send all your hate mail to BobbyDizzle.com.
Exactly.
I don't want any more. I'm done.
Well, we're like, if you love us, like and subscribe. If you hate us, subscribe and turn the notifications off. Just give us the numbers. Just give us.
Exactly.
Kramer, if you want to watch it, but yet you're not supposed to.
Leave a hateful comment underneath. It's okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. The algorithm doesn't read the comments. They just see the numbers.
What was it? Howard Stern said, "Hey, at least they listened." They listen because they either hate me or they listen because they love me. Either way, they listen. So.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. We'll never get to his level. The king of king of all media, I think is the title or something like that.
Wow, that's a huge title.
Yeah.
Well, I remember listening to him when he was just a DJ on a local FM radio station up north.
Oh, sure.
I remember the day he got fired, actually. It was the day after Washington, D.C., the Air Florida crash. He called as a joke. He calls Air Florida and gets a human, and he asks how much a one-way ticket to the 14th Street Bridge is, which is where the plane crashed. And then he asked if they were serving ice water on the flight. He was gone by 11 o'clock.
Wow.
That's bad.
He turned up on K-Rock up in New York after that, and that from there he just made it. But it was because of things like that made him who he was. He was
a shock jock.
Yeah. He was. That was pretty shocking. So and then you have G. Gordon Liddy, who started up on DC radio with the sound of machine gun fire and tells everybody how to field strip a 45 and an M16 or whatever military rifle is. I don't know what they are. In the dark, blindfolded on the radio. It's like, these are radio legends. How do they do that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine for your show, one of the business you've got to field strip a weapon? Today's time it might not be so bad, but back then,
Yeah.
Today's time, it would not go over well either. All the guns.
Depending on the timing, So
all the people against guns, they would be like, "Why? Stop!"
And why? You got it.
Stop and why? That's what That's all we want. Just tell us to stop and ask us why we're doing it. It's been years. We never responded to those messages, and we should now. It's been years since we got them.
You should.
We should just be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Hey,
Hey, this was in my spam folder. What's up?
Yeah. Why? What's going on?
Yeah.
Everything all right with you?
Yeah. How you
Did you listen to this week's show?
Yeah.
Here's a quarter.
Hey,
Somebody.
because we can.
Yeah. That's right.
We got the toll-free phone number now, and I'm always sitting here going, "Oh," when it rings. And one of the first times it rang, I didn't answer it quick enough. I was like, "Well, hell, this I figured this out. I got redial."
Oh
So
yeah.
I called them back.
Yeah.
It was one of our regular listeners, but it was just funny. He was like, "No, you're not hanging up on me."
Oh gosh.
So
That was funny.
we are blessed by Ross at Radio Yergs. He lets us use his toll-free number during the show. So every now and then we get a couple good callers. So, but yeah, that adds an element to me that you don't know what you got. You know,
Yeah.
one of our co-hosts called in, and at first I wasn't 100% sure it was him or not. I was 90%, but I wasn't 100. And he starts telling this great story, a ghost story about when he crosses a bridge, a ghost jumps in the truck with you. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure this is who I think it is. And then one of my co-hosts, Bobby Dizzle, he asks, he's getting into it. He's asking a whole lot more. And finally, Todd, the caller, says, "No, Bobby, he's hanging on the four-wheeler in the back with his hair blowing in the wind." I just lost it. Because well, you had a Honda Element or whatever, some four-wheel drive or go-kart that you're towing, and he's just hanging on. She's just hanging on to it, waving it, their hair blowing in the wind. I was dying. So.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh, that was so hilarious because Bobby was just dying, laughing at him, and the guest didn't have a clue what was going on.
The guest didn't have a clue. And I'm trying really hard.
They're like,
I'm sure it's time. I'm not sure it's time.
yeah. And I was like, just sitting there shaking my head. I knew who it was. And Glenn was looking really confused, and I'm like, "You know who this is?" He was like,
I was still playing. Like I said, I was about 99%, maybe a little less than that, convinced enough to where I was like, "Let's just play this out and see how it goes."
Sure.
Did the ghost like get in the car with you? He's like, "Yeah, they got in the back seat," and it was like every time you cross that bridge, it appeared in your car. And I was like,
he's telling them how it traumatized him, and I'm sitting here.
Yeah, it traumatized him when he
And
was
they
a
just-
kid.
Wow. And
And the guest did what?
And he was being serious. He wasn't making it up. He just told Bobby that it was on the back of the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
Sure. And
And
he's trying to hold it together.
Questions too, and I'm going, "Whoa, I don't know. This is either going to be ugly or funny. I don't know which."
Oh Lord, it was so hilarious because it was just weird.
Yeah.
Probably the closest we ventured into your world. So
Yeah, he was trying to be serious, and Bobby thought he was being funny, and Glenn didn't know whether it was him or not, and it was
Oh,
just
that's
like a
so-
big
that's
mess.
so
And
funny.
I think wasn't our guest the
ventriloquist, yeah.
yeah, she was a ventriloquist.
Her puppet was confused too. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
It
was
didn't
like,
even have anything to do with paranormal, and I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a ventriloquist on. He calls him a ghost story. I'm like, sure, why not?
sure.
Ventriloquist didn't know what to do. So, yeah. And she was a ventriloquist that would perform at like kids' plays and stuff. And so,
So we're like,
Oh,
why are you calling in right now with this story?
yeah. So that's the closest we've ventured into your world. And yeah, it was a little bit. But it made for great radio. It was one of our most popular shows. So.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad
it was
that.
awesome.
And so if you really would add something to it, just add a toll-free number, and whew, you never know.
I don't know.
That might stir it up a little bit too much.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna navigate this?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
How you get to the end of the story with the ghost hanging on a four-wheeler. So.
Yeah, right.
Out of your stories, which is your most favorite?
Aside from the musical one, that's probably my most favorite, just because that was the most fun recording. But I think episode 100 might be my most favorite, because it was a two-parter. We had a ton of build-up for it. And from episodes 1 to 99, we had developed this multiverse. So there was starting to see some character crossovers. There was two different universes that were like traveling, and all this stuff just developed. And so we figured episode 100, all of it's coming together. And it was awesome. It turned out great. It was very kind of bittersweet to bring all those characters together, but also know that we're starting a new season and we're not ever going to touch those guys again. But all of the production sucked to do.
Oh, no.
To have to comb through 99 episodes to figure and then write down how everything connects and try to figure out timelines and figuring out, okay, this character is like this and these are the episodes they're in and they take place here. Like, it sucked to put together on the back end. So it's probably, I think it's my favorite because it was our biggest accomplishment. And it was such a milestone for us. Like, we were 100 episodes in, and but yeah, it was one of those things where like, wow, that was awesome. Let's never do that again.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you hate it.
How long was the episode?
Each episode, oh gosh, I would say each story was probably each 30-45 minutes long, probably.
Oh, that's good.
So we did one where he hosted the first half, I hosted the second half. So yeah, the two-parter. Yeah, and I mean it was pretty good, and we had a lot of fun in post-production, because since we started doing video editing, since we're telling stories, we add a lot of visual aids or some different special effects just to really, help paint the picture to people watching. And we really, really did a lot for episode 100 to amp it up. And yeah, like I said, there were a lot of late nights of just so exhausted, but like, I just have to power through doing this. But actually getting together, actually telling the story, and then just seeing it happen was unbelievable. So much fun. Yeah, definitely a celebration after that. So
did you guys play all the characters, or did you have other people come in, or?
Yep. So we had to write notes because there were so many characters, and we had to write who played that character in the past. So
right.
So we had to try to remember, because usually when we're telling these stories, it's like maybe there's like, usually the person who's not the host, they just have one character to play.
Right.
And then everybody, and then I'll play, maybe there's like 3 or 4 other characters in the story, maybe. Sometimes there's only one other character in the story. And so it's usually not that bad. But when you were trying to juggle like 10 different characters and remembering their different voices, their different personalities, having to go from like a Western greedy cowboy and then do like a Mickey Mouse thing.
Yeah.
Like, you get lightheaded trying to do all the bouncing back and forth. And we were in his garage, so there was not air circulation. And I definitely remember at the end of 100 part 1, I won't spoil who, but a character died, and I was so happy because I was like, I'm gonna pass out if I have to keep doing his voice. I am seriously like, I can't. Because the character was like this weird neurotic, and he would hyperventilate a lot.
Oh,
so I was
my
sitting
God.
there like hyperventilating while like through my lines.
That's terrible.
And I was like, I'm gonna pass out. Like I am so I'm glad he's dead because I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot of fun.
But yeah, it was a ton of effort, and then just to see it happen. I mean, that's like any big project. If you put a lot of effort into it, once you finally see it done, it's the best. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You said so after season 1, which was up to episode 100. All those characters are dead to you now. You're all fresh from here on out.
Yeah. Yep. It's cool. A bit of a bummer, but because there's a lot of nostalgia for us in those. But it was a huge sigh of relief when we did the first episode of season 2. It was all the fun just came rushing back. Like all the stress was gone. Totally new start. We don't have to remember any past events. We don't have to try to keep whatever straight. Like totally fresh and new. And it was also it was fun too because we kept the same structure, but we tried to do a little, just alter it a tiny bit. And so it was kind of fun figuring that out. And yeah, it was just the fun of figuring it out and starting new again was just amazing. And yeah, we've recorded 7 episodes for season 2, and it's still super fun, and we're still trying to do new things and trying to get a live show set up for this year as well. So yeah, so a lot of things. Yeah, like I said, we just try to keep it fun and for us. Just so
for the characters this time.
What's that?
So I hope you're keeping notes on the characters this time, so you don't have to go and do so much research.
You'd think I would be, but
yeah.
I didn't think to do that. I should probably do that.
Oh no!
I don't know.
I was just gonna say, I always ask podcasters, how do you know when it's time to start the new season? How did you know?
We had always, I mean, for us, once we started developing the multiverse thing, once we started connecting stories together, I think it just came out that one of us had said like, oh yeah, in episode 100, we have to have it all just come together. So we were just talking, we were just hyping it up. And then it just kind of became that. It was like, we had always discussed it. We're like, okay, episode 100 is going to just be this big event. It's going to be all this stuff coming together. And we established that. And then I think we just started calling it a new season. I don't think we really had any intention of there being seasons, but we were like, we're getting rid of all these characters. We're starting fresh. Like it's basically how a new season works. So, yeah, it was more just the terminology was just there. But yeah, we just knew 100 was going to be a big bang, and then it was going to be something new.
I don't think there's a way to do it. I did mine with the calendar year. I was like, all right, we're in a new year.
Yeah. That's an easier way to do it for sure. I don't suggest doing 100 episode season.
Like, 100th episode. That's a big milestone.
It really is. It's scary.
Are you a comic book fan by any chance?
Not as much as I'd like to be. I dabble here and there, but I've never I don't have like a collection or anything. One of my best friends though, he has thousands of issues, and he still has a bunch that he regularly gets. So all of my comic book needs I get through him, or any questions I have.
And I was going to ask, did you play any Dungeons and Dragons growing up?
Oh, no. I want to very bad, but I've never been able to find the time to do it.
Well, your show sounds a lot like some of the
Yeah. It is a lot of we've definitely noticed the similarities between there, where it's very much like that. We've talked about starting a kind of D&D podcast thing too. There's a million of those, but like
there are.
Fun.
That's a world I didn't want to mess up because they're mean.
But I played a lot of like RPGs and stuff, like video games growing up. So not the same thing, but there's similarities in there when it comes to character choice and doing your own thing and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've always just been a storyteller. I've always just loved to make up stories. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, great. Well, Mike, we've talked your ear off. You came on early. I appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you, any pertinent information, and
wait.
Where to post at what?
You forgot to ask him if he's ever had any paranormal stories.
Oh, shoot. The whole reason the show exists. I'm sitting here trying to think. Yeah, I'm looking at the time thinking, God, I've pushed you to talk that long.
We'll get to where you can be found.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, no, but some people don't like to be. That's why I was going that way. So,
yeah.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences? Seen Bigfoot? Poltergeist? I don't know.
Yes, I very much have. And I don't know what the regulations are for going overtime or anything.
Oh, we can go overtime.
Okay. Yeah. Because there's a little bit to get into. So when I was 13, my mom, my stepdad, and I moved into the house that my mom still lives in now. And it was just a pretty small townhouse. And just to kind of give you a little bit of context of the layout, when you walk in, there's a small entryway. Straight ahead of you are stairs that go upstairs, and then off to the side, it goes to the living room, and then it kind of wraps around dining room to kitchen and kind of wraps around the stairs there. When you go up the stairs and then you take a right, the bathroom's right in front of you. You take another right, so the hallway kind of wraps around, and there's 2 bedrooms. So that does play into the story, so that's why I'm explaining that. But so ever since we moved in there had just been very off feelings that I had about it. Anytime I was home alone, anytime, certain instances, it just I just couldn't shake this feeling that like I was not safe. And as I got older, it changed a little bit, but what never stopped was whenever I would walk up the stairs, it would feel more intense. And whenever I was in the hallway upstairs, it felt like somebody was just right over my shoulder, just staring down at me. But the moment that I would cross into the bathroom or cross into my bedroom, like once I got into a room, the feeling would dissipate. I'd feel calm, like it was fine. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, whatever, I guess I'm just into my own head about this. I was trying to, shake it off. It's, and my mom had experienced a few things too. I took a trip to Europe when I was 19, and my mom said when I was gone, she woke up in the middle of the night and saw like a light floating in the hallway right outside of her doorway. And it like kind of was bobbing around a little bit, and then it went away. And she said that happened a couple nights when I was out. And so we talked about that, and there were just weird instances. It would feel like if I was walking down the hallway, sometimes it felt like somebody was walking towards me and like would walk past me. Mm-hmm. I would almost hear a whisper or something like that. But I always just try to tell myself like I'm psyching myself out. It's in my head. It's whatever. My now wife, the first time she stayed the night at that house, my parents were out of town. So it was just the 2 of us. And we were up in my room. We were just about to fall asleep. And in the corner of my eye, I looked in my doorway. My door was open, and it looked like a person was standing there watching us. When I did a double take, there was no one in the hallway. And I went and I was like, oh, I got to use the bathroom quick, just because I wanted to be sure, but I didn't want to freak her out. So I didn't mention anything about seeing a person. I just went to the bathroom, looked around a bit. I'm like, okay, I guess it was just the light playing tricks on me. I'm just going to go to bed. A month or so later, I was talking with my wife about how creepy my mom's house always made me feel, how whenever I was alone there, I felt like I just was not welcome, like I wasn't supposed to be there. And she said that she was like, I wasn't going to say anything, but the first night I spent the night at your house, it looked like when we were falling asleep, like somebody was watching us in the doorway of your room. But when I double taked, there was no one there, and I didn't want to freak you out, so I didn't say anything. And I said, "No, you didn't," because it's the exact same. So that was creepy, and that really solidified, like, okay, so it's not just me that's getting this really freaky, uncomfortable vibe from this house. And I do remember at one point too, the neighbors were telling my mom that we were the longest family to stay there. People just moved in and out of the house all the time, which at the time I was like, oh, okay, that's weird, I guess, but not super weird. But where it all is, the part that freaks me out the most, and it all came together years after I move out of the house. I never talked to my mom about this stuff. I never told her about how, like, this heavy presence, how it freaked me out. The hallway specifically was where it felt the most intense. A lot of times on the main level, I felt okay. And every time I was in the bathroom, the bedrooms, I felt fine. That hallway just was too much. I never told her that because I didn't want to freak her out. And also I was like, I don't know, it could all be in my head.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and she was telling me just a few things about the house. And she was like, oh, and before we moved in, because they visited the house before I ever saw it, the previous owners had put in holy water crosses above every doorway upstairs.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's odd.
Yeah.
And when they tore up the carpet on the main floor and replaced it with hardwood, there were Bible scripture passages written in on the concrete underneath the carpet. And so I was like, now I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to bother rationalizing this, because the fact that there's the Bible scriptures downstairs where I feel fine. And I feel this intense, uncomfortable, dangerous feeling when I'm in the hallway. But the second I cross through those doorways that had crosses written in holy water above them, I feel perfectly fine. Like, all of it adding up, it was like, I can't convince it feels crazy to think it's a coincidence. And I'm not going to try to rationalize it. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And that house still freaks me out, but she still lives there.
Does she still feel presence in it?
She doesn't really feel it as much, but my wife did. She would tell me when she was upstairs, and she would, even if we were all hanging out downstairs, but she would go up and use the restroom, that she felt like she had to be fast, because she was like, it felt like she wasn't supposed to be in the house. Like somebody really did not want her to be there. And a couple other friends had also mentioned, like, it just feeling off. So no, that's the one where it was like everything was weird. And then I had that conversation with my mom, and I was like, I can't, it's not in my head anymore. Like, I'm just, all right, you got it.
Seeing the guy
was buried in the concrete down there, and they felt guilty and put Bible scripture.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right.
That was my first thought. I was like, Jimmy Hoffa. So
yeah, right. And so I was like, people moving in and out of the house, crosses above it, like everything lining up so perfectly that I'm like, it's all right. It is what it is. And I'm not
there. I don't know what, but it doesn't sound like it likes people.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna let it be what it is. I was done saying like, oh, it's probably this. It's probably like, nope. It's whatever it wants to be. That's fine.
Right. I'm not gonna mess with it. Just hurry down the hall.
The old people called it the Haints. So the Haints.
Whenever I would tell my friends, or even when I told my wife, I was like, sometimes I hate telling the story, because I'm like, it sounds like I'm making it up, because it's so like, but I swear not a single word is exaggerated. Every single word is true. And like, but I always tell people, I'm like, you're gonna think I'm lying, but I'm not lying. Like I'm being entirely serious.
No, I believe you.
This crowd and audience, everybody probably believes you.
Yeah, it's
we've heard similar.
Oh yeah, it's so funny that both of you saw the man in the doorway, but neither one of you wanted to freak the other out. Like, you'd said something, we've been out of here.
Yeah. Oh, when she told me that, I lost my mind. I was like, there's no way that like that wasn't just in my head. Like that's
if I was over at somebody else's saw and I saw something, I'd be like, I gotta say so. I couldn't myself. I'd be like, what's going on here? Yeah.
Oh man. So
how many years later was it that she told you?
What's that?
How many years later was it that she told you?
I think it was a matter of months. I think it was months later because we were So it was still fresh enough for her to remember it fairly well. But she described it the exact same way that I experienced it. And I was like, and I never told her because I didn't want to freak her out. So I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no one else. I'm like, this is supposed to be in my head. This is supposed to be tricks of the light. This isn't supposed to be actually happening.
That did not happen.
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
You try and convince yourself sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was just a lot of weird stuff. And I mean, my mom says that I always had kind of a connection or sensitivity to it, I think is how she puts it. Because when I was really little, so I have a grandpa Michael, but that's not who I'm named after. His first son was also named Michael, and he passed away on April 1st, a few years before I was born on April 1st. And so I was named after my uncle Michael, who I never met, and he lived in Texas, and we're in North Dakota. So none of my mom had never met him. We never talked about him really. And when I was really little, my mom was talking to me and she was like, so Michael, did you know that you're not named after your grandpa Michael?
Mm-hmm.
And according to her and multiple other people in my family, I was like, yeah, I'm named after my uncle Michael. And she was like, how do you know that? We've never talked about him. And I said, my uncle Michael told me.
Oh, wow.
Isn't
that crazy?
And there's been instances as well. My junior year in high school, we had 5 classmates of mine pass away that year. And it was in with, I think, 2 months, within the span of a month and a half, 2 months, that all that happened.
Yeah.
And I remember being really bothered because it didn't affect me as much as I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothered me a lot, that I wasn't like torn apart as much, by it. And my mom had a coworker who's a medium, and she was talking to my mom, and she had said that she sees a man and described what he was wearing. She said he's standing in front of a grandfather clock, and kind of described him a little bit. And my mom said, like, I don't really know who that would be. And her medium friend said, well, whoever he is, he's shielding Michael from all of the deaths that are happening at the school. Oh. And so my mom reached out to my dad's side of the family, where my uncle Michael is related on that side.
Mm-hmm.
And she reached out to my grandma on that side and said, like, hey, does this ring a bell to you at all? Because I have no idea who this would be. And when she described it, the grandfather clock, what they were wearing, they told my mom that is the only picture they have left of my uncle Michael.
Oh, wow.
I have never seen before. Wow. My mom has never, I have no idea what he looks like. And so I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You need to contact Nikki, one of my former co-hosts. She does pictures, drawings of your loved ones that are with you in the background.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You gotta check some of those episodes out we had. It's cool but creepy. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, now I'm gonna let you go. you've talked. I know you have. You got kids and stuff. So tell everybody where you can be found and what. Tell us everything.
Yes. Oh, yes. Find us on all the stuff. YouTube is the biggest one. Check us out on YouTube. We put a lot of work into video editing, and it's M&A's Excellent Adventures. You can find us on all the social medias: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Just search our name. You'll find us on all the platforms there. And otherwise, if you're more of just an audio-only podcast listener, that's totally cool. We're on pretty much wherever you're going to find your podcast: Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you do listen to the show and you're a fan of the show, you can write us a premise. If you have an idea for a premise or some characters, if you want to guest on the show, at michaelandanthonyadventures@gmail.com. We love interacting with people. We always are engaging with our listeners, and we like to have a good time. So hit us up. Tell us stop and ask us why.
Stop. Why?
Stop. Why? All right, man. Well, I'll try and get all that in post-production too. So.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so
much. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming on short notice a little early. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I was really excited. I've never shared that story publicly before, so I was pretty excited to do that.
I appreciate it so much.
I'm watching the clock, thinking how I kept it too long. So I'm glad Dina straightened me out there. See, she's good.
Yeah.
I love her. All right. Well, I'm gonna let us get out of here. We gotta turn the radio station back over to Ross, but I'm really glad you came on, and I hope that you'll come back and see us again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you need an old fat goofy guy.
Good.
All right, Mike. Good night, and Dina. I'm gonna cut us out of here with the song. So,
all right.
Anything you have to say? Find the right button. There we go.
No, I'm good. For the night, I'm hungry.
Yeah. I hear you. I didn't have much for dinner. I gotta find the other button here.
Me neither.
Too many buttons when you got radio stations and stuff to do. Everybody have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning us in. We will see you next week on the Paranormal Guys.
It's a bouncy song.